FM News Talk 97.1. On-demand audio.
Right now, bringing on my very good friend. We talked to him on Friday, and Pigford, we need to keep a focus on this story, and I know that there's going to be more headlines about this coming in the coming days, and at some point there, I believe, will be hearings. But Andrew Breitbart joins us right now on the phone. Andrew, good afternoon.
Hey, Dan, I'm no longer at CPAC. I'm right now in my father-in-law's Venice Canals garage. He told me, just go out there and try out our new massage chair. This thing must have either been bought at Costco for like about $800, but it is doing weird things to my back now. It's not making any noise, but if you hear me make a shriek, you'll know why.
It doesn't sound like it's comfortable.
I just have not. So,
oh my gosh! Well,
I don't care if it hurts.
It's been an incredibly crazy week and a very crazy weekend, and a lot of stuff has happened. There's a nice big press release up at Big Government and BigJournalism.com, both of those websites. But there are more developments. We talked Friday how you and Lee Stranahan and the original black farmers that were involved in this USDA discrimination case had this press conference. I was there. We posted photos up online, and there was explosive new audio. We've had it on the show that discussed how unbelievably easy it is to say, hey, I'm a farmer too who was discriminated against. Give me my $50,000 check. And I didn't hear a lot in the mainstream media about this press conference. They fully intend to, I think, continue to ignore it. But at what point are they going to have to discuss this? Because there's going to be more developments about this.
Well, look, the second my name comes up with Shirley Sherrod suing me at the tail end of CPAC, the press certainly knows who I am and what I'm up to, and wants to put this back on the front pages like it did for a month back in July and August of last year. So they're ignoring Pigford. We put out a press release in response to Shirley Sherrod's politically motivated lawsuit that's coming out of Obama's number one law firm, Kirkland & Ellis, based out of Chicago. I mean, this is the Washington office. I mean, this is a politically motivated cause to try and silence our investigation of Pigford, to try and divert us, to try and scare us off of the story. But of course we're not going to be scared. And if Ms. Sherrod thinks that we're not going to continue to explore her role in Pigford, which is, I would argue, the largest politically oriented fraud case in the history of the U.S. government, her central role in what is a massive fraud, her oversight role within it, the media's ignored it. They've even ignored my press release. There's one sentence in the press release that doesn't relate to Pigford, and that's the only part that they pick up in my response in the mainstream press. They don't want to touch on the fact that we have exposed that the Democratic Party, and specifically Barack Obama, has wielded the reparations movement for their electoral gain. That's not our intemperate right-of-center Tea Party rhetoric. That's the rhetoric that the people who have been selling Pigford in the trenches for so long, they didn't expect that it would be discovered, and they didn't expect that anybody would be dogged in the pursuit of exposing it. And Shirley Sherrod was fired, according to the lawsuit, not by Vilsack, but by the White House. And I can't wait to do discovery on President Obama as it relates to Shirley Sherrod and Pigford.
And that's interesting that you note that. It was mentioned in the lawsuit. It's her folks that made that attribution, that the White House fired her. That's a really important distinction, I think, that not a lot of people are making.
Well, she was the one, whatever damages they claim she got, and this is a person who has book contracts and speaking fees and has been elevated to St. Shirley status. And for 4 weeks, she led the campaign of defaming and defiling me and calling me a slave holder and all these ludicrous things. She's never met me, and it's President Obama who fired her. And the reason why they fired her, well, why don't we go to MSNBC? If your audience knows anything, it is that MSNBC has a direct hookup with the White House. And while she got fired, they went to communicating with Lawrence O'Donnell, the Maddow Show, The Nation magazine, the left-wing magazine editor, Chris Hayes, and Urban Radio Network's April Ryan. All of them were correlating the firing by the White House, not by Vilsack, to Pigford. They blamed me on the Maddow Show. Conservative activist 1 or conservative conman 1, black farmer 0. I knew nothing about Pigford, but it was the White House that drew attention to Pigford. It was the White House's number one media organ, MSNBC, who pointed the fingers to Pigford. I could have ignored it. Instead, we chose not to. And the more we peeled back, the more corruption we found out. The more we peeled back, the more black farmers we found who were actually hurt in this case. And the more we peeled back, we eventually found out that Shirley Sherrod made $13.3 million between she, her husband, and their defunct communal farm. The more we peeled back, we found out that she was hired by the very institutions that had oversight into Pigford and into how the black farmers were treated in this country, while at the same time being the largest recipient of Pigford cash. A massive conflict of interest. And as we've started to just kind of barrel down the Pigford, tracks, at a certain point, I believe, she said, we have to stop the revelation of this. And at times, precisely with tomorrow's press conference by John Boyd of the National Black Farmers Association at the press conference where he's going to appear with the Congressional Black Caucus over an emerging, growing problem within the Pigford settlement. They know that we are relentless in our pursuit of the truth. We have more goods, we have more FBI affidavits, we have more whistleblowers, and we've got more video.
Right. And we're going to have, there's going to be something up. Lee Stranahan has authored a piece on this that's about to run at bigjournalism.com. Well, Andrew, we're going to be following this story because it's a lot of deflection, attempted deflection away from Pigford, and it's too important of a case to ignore it. But I know you got to get going. A happy Valentine's Day to you and your family.
You
and
too.
We'll be talking to you again soon, Andrew. Thanks for all you do.
Okay, bye, Dana.
All right, bye-bye.